I hope you're well.
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I am also doing well. I am doing well. And I was saying that you are in California, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. In this election, where's California leaning?
Oh, California is always blue. It's a democratic state. So, yeah, they voted overwhelmingly for uh, Kamala Harris. But, it was not enough. It was not enough. And so, yes, California was not the key factor in this election. It was a swing state, and the swing state went in favor of Donald Trump. So, yeah, from all indications, as you rightly know, he is our next president.
So the projections are that he will be.
Yes. He's going to be the next president of the United States. No doubt about it. Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, all these states are falling for Donald Trump. And these are the state that determines who wins an election. So North Carolina, just name them. So at this point, there's nothing for us to debate about as to whether Trump will be the next president of the United States or not. He is, going to be the next president. And yeah. And I think that the Democratic Party will learn, a lot of lessons from this particular defeat.
And I'll come to the reasons that are accounting for this. Yourself, did you vote Democrat or Republican?
Yes, I'm a Democrat.
Okay.
I'm a Democrat. Yes,
Okay.
I'm a Democrat.
Is it by loyalty to the party, or does you think the party was the best for the U.S. at this time?
It's more of a principle. It's more of a principle. But of course, I did not support some of the positions and some of the policy stroke programs that they put out.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was where, because you started talking about politics, I was coming to the substantive matter of what did you think worked for Trump and what failed for Kamala Harris?
Well, I think Trump basically, relied on the weaknesses of the Democratic Party, right? The Democrats they made major errors. Major errors. One was their inability to listen, to talk down on voters, and made it look like if you are not voting for them, it means that there's something wrong with you. They're very disrespectful, especially towards the black community. If you realize that the black community was divided, the black community has been a staunch, base for the Democratic Party. Indeed, the black folks call it the Democratic Plantation, right? But this time around, they felt that they've not been treated fairly, especially with how the whole, illegal immigration issues were handled, right? The race concerns that these folks were being sent into their neighborhood, etc., and they felt that it was not appropriate. They should be sent elsewhere. The amount of resources that were given to these folks, allegedly, there were those that believed that every immigrant was given $5,000, a place to stay, etc., and they were literally, struggling here. So people were questioning where the loyalty was, whether the Democratic Party is paying attention to, the citizens of the United States or foreigners. That is one, right? So they felt that they've been neglected, they were not listening to, and so they chose to go with Trump. Secondly, you have, inflation play a very key role in this election. I think food prices has gone up almost 25%, right? You go to the stores and you have to spend double or even more, sometimes triple, to get what you're looking for. And so people were feeling the pinch in terms of how the economy was going, or how the economy is going. Thirdly, I think the Ukraine-Russia war, it really affected them, because it has affected the economy of the United States badly. and the amount of money that has been doled out to, Zelensky and his people to fight the war, considering the fact that Americans are struggling here, right? A lot of Americans were not pleased with it. They were not pleased with it. And also the Middle East. What is going on in the Middle East, also a major role. You remember at some point, Americans were calling President Joe Biden Genocide Joe, right? It is because of their, opposition to the war, what is going on and how it's being handled. So a lot of key factors played. And the strategy that they adopted in the election looked like somebody like Trump. Trump was, campaigning with Elon Musk, Dana White, and other top, business moguls. You would find the Democrats having Beyonce on stage, Megan Thee Stallion, Katy Perry, these, musicians, etc., that don't add any value to the lives of these people. So it was like, the Democratic Party has gotten it wrong, and they have to go and learn their lessons, And as to whether the vice president was the right candidate, the process of which she became the candidate, whether President Joe Biden probably should have resigned, more or less like, giving up much earlier than he did, the timing. There were a lot of things that went against the Democratic Party. So if you ask me in a nutshell, the Americans have decided to go with President Trump. They feel that President Trump is very bold, very decisive. He will make tough decisions that would, bring benefits to the United States. They feel like presidents such as Putin, Xi Jinping, the president of China, etc. These are tough guys that require, tough leaders to be able to deal with them or to meet them and negotiate with them. And they didn't feel like, the vice president, has what it takes to be able to run a nation like the United States.
I see. So the feeling was that Trump was the best for the times that America finds itself in.
Yes. And considering, what's going on around the world, especially with the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine-Russia war. People are not pleased at all. It has become a major issue here. A major issue. And like I said, illegal migration also played out and how the economy is doing. So these are things that went against the Democratic Party, and also their campaign strategy. It was off. It was completely off.
And of course, we were talking when I were arranging the interview. You said this was predictable, that you saw it coming.
We saw it coming.
How come the party failed to see
it? Let me put it this way, right? You recall the first debate between President Trump and President Joe Biden. President Joe Biden didn't do too well. The leadership of the Democratic Party, called them the bankrollers, were not pleased. They sensed that if it goes on this way, they were going to lose. Therefore, they quickly assembled a meeting to see whether President Joe Biden should be, taken off the ballot and be replaced with Vice President Kamala Harris. It was a bit back and forth, and considering the health of President Joe Biden, they had to go in for Kamala Harris. There were those that were like, let's go to Congress, let people contest and see the best person. And there were others that felt that no, if we bring anybody than Kamala Harris, it will show as if that, the administration has failed. That's why the Democrats don't have any faith in Kamala Harris. So it was a stalemate thing, and they're like, they have to just bring Kamala Harris. So now you have to market her. Now you remember the issue as to whether she's black or she's not black, but her background, her record, especially in California, and within the black community, they felt that she was not fair towards black folks. So there were a lot of things that were stacked against her, right? But they had to present her. So marketing didn't come out too strong, and she couldn't convince that much. She couldn't convince that much as compared to Trump. Trump was very bold with his statements, and giving that confidence and I think Vice President Kamala Harris was, I think, probably being too nice, for want of a better word.
Not even the performance in the, what do you call it, the debate with Trump helped?
No, no. The debate absolutely did nothing. The debate absolutely did nothing. Actually, Americans felt that President Trump spoke his mind rather than, a scripted, what do you call it, type of a program for Vice President Kamala Harris. So they're like, oh, she cannot even speak without a teleprompter. Like, there were a lot of things that were coming out, that people were using against
were
it.
some of these things factual?
Well, to a very large extent, you could easily see, when she
that you have somebody in a debate who was speaking to what do you call it, a teleprompter, a script.
These were all rumors that had some level of truth to it. It has some level of truth to it. So it made people felt like Trump is more assertive, and and all the failed assassination attempt and all that, whether it is true or not, it played to his advantage. It played to his advantage. But the Democratic Party could have listened more. They could have listened more and adapted a better strategy, and not talk down on the voters, especially the black community.
I see.
So yeah. So the black folks voted for Trump, surprisingly. So
what is your reading of, because there are, in politics there's a difference between expectations and what you clearly can see will be what will be delivered. The expectations based on which people voted for Trump, from your own analysis and sense, would it happen?
I'll say that again.
I'm wondering whether Trump will meet the expectations that are being set. That he'll be a tougher leader, he would do better with. Is that really what will happen?
Well, expectations, yes, they expect that his yes will be his yes and his no will be his no. That's what I think people will be expecting from him. If you use the Middle East, for example, right, there's a lot of indecision there. Are we at war or we're not at war? What's the United States position on Gaza? What's the position with Israel? There seem not to be a clear-cut decision on these matters. So it leaves room for speculations. So people are hoping that when Trump comes in, he would be able to, put his foot down and give a clear direction as to, the way forward. Remember, in his campaign, he's made a couple of statements with regards to Iran, the relationship he wants to have with Russia and China, etc., etc. So these are things that people are looking forward to, and also issues of immigration, which is very, very important at this moment. So people expect that he's going to be very tough and not allow, people coming through the borders, etc., etc. So people are quite, expecting much from him on that part.
I guess we all know from his first time in office what to expect from Donald Trump. But in the end, you are also President NDC Pro Forum. There's an election ahead.
Yes.
Are there any parallels to be drawn between what happened in the U.S.?
Well, yes, I think yes. Much lessons, for the NDC and also Ghanaians to look out for. President Trump had 4 years, right? He did what he could. They said it wasn't enough. They replaced him. Upon looking at the performance of those that they replaced him with, they realized that he was the best candidate, so they brought him back. Sankofa, same thing can be said with the NDC, and even what is going on in Ghana. We have similarities, right? Unemployment, inflation. Checking the record of President Mahama as compared to the current administration, right? There's a clear distinct as to who deserve to be able to run the nation the next 4 years. and clearly not, the running mate, because Kamala Harris is a running mate. They brought her up. She couldn't make it. You have Baumia, who I think Ghanaians had much faith that he could do something with regards to the economy. He's failed woefully. Therefore, if they brought Trump back, definitely Ghanaians will bring President Mahama back. So it's a Sankofa moment.
That is the parallel you're drawing.
Yes, it's a Sankofa moment.
Okay, because the two men, when you do an assessment of John against Trump, they are two different characters.
No, yes, there are two different characters, but we're talking about situations. We're talking about the conditions, right? The conditions are almost the same. They want leadership. They want leadership, bold leadership, decisive leadership, a leader they can trust, a leader that his yes will be yes and no will be no. And they found the same thing in President Trump. That's why in the wisdom of Americans, they voted for him. And if you compare President Mahama with Baumia, I mean, it's obvious. In terms of leadership, humility, communication, sincerity, there's no way you can compare Baumia to President Mahama. And Ghanaians have that faith that, President Mahama will come in and make bold decisions on SHS, bold decisions on the economy, bold decisions on the energy, bold decisions on infrastructure, bold decisions on unemployment and national security. And with his record, I think that, it's that wind of change of Sankofa. It's that wind of change of Sankofa. Yeah.
Arnold the Democrat. Sorry. But thank you for speaking to us.
Thanks for having me, Senna. Have a good morning.
I always enjoy the frankness of Arnold Appiah. Straightforward. He said the party is support based on principle missed many things. They missed many opportunities, and they failed to communicate to the voter in the way that the voter will appreciate. So that's Arnold Appiah, who is president NDC Professionals Forum North America. Join us on the line. I'm sure you're also monitoring the US elections. I want to hear what you think. But first, let me acknowledge those of you who are sharing the feed on Facebook. Felix Alinko Kweku, there's Christopher Kwesi, Oteku Bar, there's Abdul Rashid